Hey Dad, we're in a series of videos, I think 7 in total, where we're going to talk about the top challenges dads have faced. We've talked about time, communication, and now we're going to talk about 2 challenges this week and next week that are related, but they're like 2 sides of a coin. And so one side is what we're going to talk about today, and next week we'll talk about the other side. A lot of dads tell us that one of their biggest challenges as a father is, they say it like this, they're just unsure where to begin. They literally don't know. They look around and think, I don't know what to do. They say it like this. One dad said, I don't know where to start in teaching my children about God. Man, great line. I mean, right to the point. One dad even just said, I have no idea what to do sometimes. That isn't really honest. In Hebrews 11:8, as we see, Hebrews 11 is like that hall of faith, right? Where the author of Hebrews is talking about all these people in the past who did these things by faith. And one of the people they bring up in Hebrews 11:8 is Abraham. And it says, by faith, Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to a place that he was to receive as an inheritance. And notice the very next line, it says, and he went out not knowing where he was going. I love that line, man. He went out not knowing where he was going. Today, we're in Louisville, Kentucky shooting these videos, and we've had a storm last night, a really bad storm. And so the first 2 places that we went to shoot video, we couldn't get to. There's a tree across the road, a bridge was out, like there's all kinds of issues trying to find a spot to shoot today. And so Corey and I drove around not knowing where we were going. Like we were basically driving around trying to find a place, not knowing where we were going. And the challenge becomes often in this area of being unsure where to begin is it's really at the core, it's a challenge of confusion and fear. Those are some of the primal kind of problems we're having. We're not sure where to begin. The antidote for those is some kind of step, and having some idea of what God is up to. Remember in Exodus 4, when he's talking to Moses, and he's saying, hey Moses, you're gonna go free my people. And Moses is giving him all kinds of flack about, I'm not your guy, I can't speak, and all this stuff. And God finally says in Exodus 4, he goes, hey, what's that in your hand? And Moses is like, a stick. And God says, yeah. And there's this principle that we see throughout Scripture. We are to begin where we are. We are to begin wherever we are. So he says to Moses, what is that in your hand? He says, a stick. And he throws it down, becomes a snake, picks it up, becomes a stick. And God says, we're going to use that. We're going to use that. You have one thing in your hand, Moses, and we're going to use that. So here is the antidote or some of the ingredients to help you overcome this challenge. If you've ever said to yourself, I'm unsure where to begin, one of the ingredients to help you get over that is just to ask yourself this question. What is that in your hand? And I don't mean physically. You might be holding an iPhone watching this video right now. I don't mean physically. I mean, look around you. Look around you. What do you have that you can reach out and touch in your life? Are you a husband? So you have a wife that you are to serve and love as Christ loved the church. Do you have children still in the home that you are to bring up in the fear and admonition of the Lord? Do you have adult children who are out of the house but still need prayer support and counsel and encouragement, and maybe they just need a babysitter? What do you have at work? You got a budget problem, a hiring problem, an angry coworker, a frustrated boss. What do you have? Like, it's like, look around. Like, you're just gonna look around yourself and say, what do I have? Because guess what? That's where you are to begin. If you've ever had anything, we drove past a house today that their big problem changed over the last 24 hours because their house is about a fourth demolished by a tree that fell on it from last night's storms here in Louisville. And I know one of the ways they need to begin, right? One of the things they need to do is get the tree off their house and put something over their roof so the next storm doesn't flood water back into their house, right? Step 1, they got to start the process of rebuilding. So Dad, if you've ever felt like you are unsure where to begin, one of the fastest ways to solve that problem is look around you. What has God put in your hand? And then ask Him for direction and resist this urge to feel like you need to see all green lights. If you've ever been on a city street, you go from stoplight to stoplight. Well, what would happen if you sat at one end of the road and said, I'm not going until I can see green lights for the next mile? You'd never move. You'd never move. Dad, here's a little known secret about something called being unsure where to begin. It doesn't matter where you start. It only matters that you start. It doesn't matter where you start. It only matters that you start, which leads me right to this week's mission. Hey, Dad, so this week's mission, what's in your hand? That's it. That's it. It's such a simple mission. What is in your hand? Because if you have been unsure where to begin, and you're just not sure about the next step, or you're not sure about the areas that God has planned for you, and you're not sure, the antidote for that is just to look at what is in your hand. What has God given you today? You might be watching this on a Tuesday, or you may be watching this on the winter solstice. I don't know when you're watching this, but right now, God has an assignment for you today. And sometimes we're unsure where to begin because we're thinking so deeply about the future that we miss what is right in front of us in the present. So Dad, I pray you will think about what is in your hand today, because that will help you overcome this challenge of being unsure where to begin. And I pray you'll do this because you're not a father on accident, so go be a father on purpose.